Good afternoon and welcome to the Red Stripe Premier League Round Up and a preview. I'm Stephen Stanberry and I'm here with the man himself, Dwayne Richards from yardisports.com. Dwayne, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, and as I told you, it's not done yet. Nothing is settled. It is very, very interesting. It continues to be fascinating. And since the last time we spoke, Boystown moved from 12th to 9th.
And
How
what's
great
not
is
done
that?
yet? I didn't say the relegation battle was over.
Nothing.
I said the top six is over.
Nothing is complete.
But it was an interesting weekend in the Red Stripe Premier League. But before we get into the show, let's big up our sponsors, the Premier League Clubs Association, the PLCA. Red Stripe, grab a Red Stripe, start the game. And Yardi Sports, we are number one. Dwayne, I have to start with the big one, and this is the Tivoli Gardens versus Boystown, where Boystown secured a 1-0 victory. Shamar Nicholson got the goal in the 68th minute to hand them all 3 points in that game. Away from home, 3 points, and that's what? They've now won 4 games
on the trot.
Yes.
They're showing very, very impressive form, because in the last 5 games, actually, they have not lost. 6 games back was the last time they lost. They managed a draw, then 4 games on the trot. And you also have to include in that win a win against the defending champions. So it shows the type of form that they're in right now. They're unsung, they're getting the job done, they're fully focused, and they're not afraid of anybody. It's a West Kingston derby, it's a big derby, and they go down to the Edward Shire Sports Complex and get this great win. It was an impressive performance in the second half. It was a scrappy first half, but in the second half, They took the game to Tivoli, and again, we saw where Shamar Nicholson has got the job done for his team. He continues to chase the leading goal scorer in the league, Jermaine Teddy Johnson, and it was, in fact, a shootout between the leading goal scorers in the league, and he won that duel. And in doing so...
And the 3 points as well.
Yeah, in doing so, he copped 3 points for his team. So it shows that he is the big man coming up with a big performance at the right time for his team. And at 20 years old, it shows that he has the steady head, and you can't speak too much of this young man who continues to impress for his team.
I have to ask a question. Why Boystown put their fans through so much drama in the early parts of the season, year after year after year? We see this time and time again. They have a poor start to the season, struggle near the bottom of the table, and then when it matters most, they put on a good run and survive.
They are the king of the great escape. But one of the most important factors has been the return of Jamil Hardware. He has been such a big influence on the team in the middle of the park. He connects the defense with the attack, and he also reaches into the box. He arrives in the box. We spoke about it last Monday, and last Thursday against the defending champions, he was the one who got the winner for them in stoppage time. So it shows just how much of a big player he is for the club. He has made a massive difference. He brings poise to the midfield, and they're able to finally get goals, and they're also keeping clean sheets, and that has proven critical, because we've spoken about it time and time again that they are the team that has conceded the most goals, but at the right time they've found a way to stop their opponents, and they're scoring goals. They're outscoring their opponents when they concede, and that is what has made all the difference. That being said, Tivoli didn't look like the Tivoli Gardens team that we've seen over the past few weeks. They are a lot slower, they're not as fluid, they're not moving the ball from front to back. Jermaine Teddy Johnson had to come off too deep, in my opinion, too often to get the ball, and then he wasn't able to get into the attacking third to get the goals for them, and that was the difference.
Yes, and Tivoli Gardens, they missed the chance to close the gap on league leaders UWIFC, and I'm going to call this one. UWI will finish at the top of the table.
Yeah, that's easy to call.
Oh, you want to agree with that
that's
one because of your association?
No,
to the
not
UWI
my
team.
association. I had said to you that the team that could catch them, in my opinion, was Montego Bay United.
Yes.
But they have gone on a bad skid. They've lost 3 in a row, and the advantage is now with UWI. So I'm saying to you that at this point, it's an easy call unless UWI falls apart, which I don't see happening.
All right. Let's jump into the other game, and this was Waterhouse versus defending champions Montego Bay United, and the Jerusalem-based club got a 2-0 victory on Sunday. Kemar Beckford and Irvina English, the veteran, scoring for Waterhouse on Sunday. Your thoughts on this one? A good win for Waterhouse to keep them above the relegation zone.
It was a very, very important win because going into the start of their game, they knew that Jamalco had won. They knew that Boys Town had won. And they knew that if they didn't get a win, then they would be back in the relegation zone. So it was critical for them to be able to get that win. And when you look at the forward line that Admiral Bailey started, you could see that he had attacking intent. And it paid off for him because they had been struggling in the final third. It's something he spoke about their conversion in the final third in previous games, and that had cost them. When they had gone on a run, they had had a number of draws and not wins. They were unable to convert possession and chances into goals, but they were finally able to do that, and that made the difference last night. He went with a younger lineup, a more agile and attacking lineup, and they got the job done against the defending champions that are struggling to get the wins. They've had a number of games to play back-to-back because of the pile-up, the fixture pile-up, and they're playing like every 3 days, and it is clearly taking a toll on them now.
All right. Well, they've qualified. 5 teams have qualified for the playoffs so far. Only 1 spot remaining. But Montego Bay United, they would want to finish in the top 2 to avoid that extra game that we spoke about early in the season.
Everybody does, Everybody does. So they'll be shooting for that, and I think that is where the focus has to be. And that is where they're lacking right now, and they'll be concerned. But having qualified already, that's the key thing. But trying to avoid an extra game, especially with so many games under their legs in recent times, will still be on their minds.
Right. And moving on to the next game, Jamalco versus Arnett Gardens. And this one was played at the
Wembley Centre of Excellence.
Yes. And Jamalco, they secured a 2-1 victory. Let's listen to the highlights.
And a long ball given away by Henry to Raniki Anderson. Now Sachel inside the Jamalco area. Long ball looking for Deacon. Deacon inside the 18-yard box. He controls here now. He has one man to beat. Goes to his left. Hits it into the box. And Morgan is there. Heading into the back of the net. It's 1-0. Arnett Garden scores. A ball came across from Deacon. And Marvin Morgan, the captain, heads it home. It's 1-0 to Arnett. The goal scored in minute number 29. By my watch, we're into the final minute of added time in this half. It's a free kick now to Jamalco in front of the Arnett area. It's pouring rain here at the Wembley Centre of Excellence. Halftime beckons. The ball swung by Mundell into the box. Heads go up, so to the keeper. The keeper misses it. Could be a chance for Jamalco. And it's into the back of the net. A 1-1. Jamalco scores.
Substitute
on
Kevin
the
Garnett.
stroke of halftime. Kevin Garnett scores. And I think referee Tyrrell has handled this game well. Could be a chance. Garnett plays it into the box. And he's brought down. And that's a penalty. So Jamalco have won a penalty here in minute number 90. The whistle sounds. Sharp steps up. Hits it. And he scores. 2-1. Jamalco leads in minute number 90.
And look at the celebration of the Jamalco players.
My word. Everyone on the park now.
And there you have it, Jamalco clipping Arnett Gardens 2-1. Now Arnett, they're in 6th position on 42 points, and they are winless in their last 4 games, suffering 3 defeats in the process.
Yes. Last week you insisted that I call the top 6, and I told you that I was not ready. I wanted to wait and see the results. Since we've spoken, Arnett has played 3 times. Mm-hmm. They've lost 2. Drawn 1. They picked up a single point. Reno have 3 games in hand,
yes.
And if they were to convert and get all 9 points,
they
would actually
Arnett.
Go ahead of
yes.
Arnett, and that is why I said to you that I was not ready to
call it. But will it happen?
It's football. Who would have said?
No, that's not what I'm asking you.
It can happen. The reality is that nobody would have picked Jamalco to beat Arnett Gardens yesterday.
Dwayne, will it happen?
I can't tell you that it will or will not happen. What I'm saying is that I am not prepared to call it because of the beauty of the game of football. Very few people, except the Jamalco faithful, would have called a Jamalco win yesterday. But they were able to come back in stoppage time and get a win against Arnett Gardens, which has now opened up a chasm for Arena to slip right through. It's no longer just a crack. It's a chasm. They can go through this now. It's a real opportunity for them. Can you imagine the intensity that they'll bring to the stadium tonight?
And I don't think the Arnett fans will be happy with you at the moment.
No, it's not about being happy with me.
Yes.
They need to be happy with their team or unhappy with their team. They're the ones who are going out on the football field and not getting the job done at a critical point in time. And
normally Arnett wins matches at
this point in time in the season is when Arnett goes on a juggernaut and blows away everybody. And it has not happened.
They've suffered 12 defeats in the process so far this season.
That's not normal for this Arnett Gardens team that we have come to see contesting finals after finals, you know?
Right, and let's jump into the other game that was played on Sunday, Portmore United versus Harbourview, and this one ended 1-1 at the Spanish Town Prison Oval. Ewan Grandison gave Portmore the lead in the 11th minute, and Raniki Murray leveled for Harbourview in the 84th. So a good point for Harbourview at the moment after some struggles recently.
Yes, a very, very, very good point. And when you look at what is happening with Harbourview now, they have 34 points. They are level with Reno, but they have played 3 games more than Reno. But they have 34 points with 3 games to play. They are not yet comfortable, but they have moved a little bit away from the relegation zone, and they know now that they just need to pick up 4 points or maybe 5 to be safe.
Mathematically, they still can make it into the playoffs, but they'd have to hope that Arnett lose all the remaining matches. But we'll discuss more about this after this break. Welcome back to the Red Spry Premier League Round Up and Preview. I'm Stephen Stanberry, and I'm here with Dwayne Richards from yardesports.com. And before we get into the second segment, let's big up our sponsors, the Premier League Clubs Association, the PLCA, and Red Stripe, where Red Stripe start the game, as well as Yarde Sports. Yarde Sports, we are number one. Dwayne, before the break, we spoke about the first set of matches, the matches that were played yesterday. Tivoli Gardens versus Boystown. Boystown clipped that one 1-0. Waterhouse defeated Montego Bay United 2-0. Jamalco clipped Arnett Gardens 2-1, while Portmore United and Harbourview battled to a 1-1 draw in Spanish Town. And we were looking at that game, and before the break we said mathematically Harbourview, they have a chance of making it into the playoff rounds, but they would have to hope that the teams above them lose all their remaining matches.
Yes, it's still math, so it's still workable. But
Yes.
my concern would be, as the head coach, is to ensure that I don't get dragged back down into this relegation scrap. I'd focus on trying to win my games and stay away from that, because at this point in time of the season, 3 games left to go. The best that I would hope for is to remain in the league. You know, but they're showing some steel in their belly. They conceded after only 11 minutes. But they were able to get back the equalizer with 6 minutes left to go, which means that they remain focused, they remain poised, and away from home they were able to get a very, very good point.
All right, Reno were scheduled to play Marvelly Hughenden in the 5:30 kickoff at the Anthony Spalding Sports Complex, but the Reno team met in an accident earlier this morning, and we'll hear from coach Wendell Downswell. And there you have it, the words of Wendell Downswell, and we wish the Reno team all the best in their recovery. Now, let's get going with the game on at 8 p.m. tonight. Humber Lion, they face UWI FC. Humber Lion, they're in 3rd position, while UWI, they lead the standings. A UWI team that Dwayne fancies. In the first meeting, Humber Lion suffered a 1-0 defeat at home, while in the second meeting they managed to snatch a point at the UA Mona Bowl. And right now we will speak to Coach at Humble Lion, Donovan Dookie. Coach Dookie, how are you doing?
How are you? Let me say a special good afternoon to all your listeners and to you, Dwayne and Mr. Stanberry.
Yes,
Good afternoon, Coach.
Yeah.
And this one is a very exciting and enterprising one. We expect a very good game from both teams. Both teams like to play football. I know that you are someone who very tactical. You like to make the adjustments throughout the course of a game. You know, what are you looking forward to this evening at the Arnott Garden Sports Complex?
Well, as you rightfully said, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be an exciting one. And I think it's one for the spectators also. What's important is, I think presently, we boast the best defensive record, and maybe we'll be up against the most attacking team. There's a lot to look forward in the game. Both teams, I think, fairly matched up. We have lost to them at home. That wasn't a true reflection of the game.
Yes.
We should have won that game we had over 20 chances, not exaggerating. They got a penalty and they're left with 3 points. When we played again in UAE, we were leading 1-0. They came back 1-1, but those two games will not account for anything in this time. It's a different UAE team. Their confidence will be through the roof. They're doing well. Kudos to them. They have been very consistent, and we've also have been very consistent. We should have turned some of those draw D into doublers.
Yes. In
the win column. So it's going to be an exciting game, fast pace, two good teams at transition, and it's going to be exciting for us.
Coach, I was at the game that was played at the UAE Bowl. You created a lot of chances. You probably should have won that game based on chances created.
Yeah.
Has the team found the goal scoring form? Have you been able to get it right now that you'll be playing again for the third time this season?
Well, it's almost competition's over because maybe it's about 3 to 4 weeks left.
Yes.
In the end season. We've been doing fairly well in that aspect. The goals are not coming in abundance, but we are creating chances. What is important is that we have not given up many chances, and it's one of my philosophy. If we don't give up chances, then we are closer to winning the game. We are creating a lot of chances per game, and we have given up few. Hence, sometimes we are on the losing end, but most times we do not lose. We understand what UAE is all about. I have a lot of respect for Marcel Gale. He has a lot of quality players also.
Yes.
They're formidable opponent. They're leading the league. And as I said before, they've shown consistency. What we have to do is we have to be focused today. I think the team that concentrates for the entire game will become victors. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a drawn game because I think we must in a lot of aspects. And as I said before, they have matured. We're matured also. We understand what we are capable of doing. We can influence the game based upon how we play. And I'm looking for a good game.
All right, Coach. Playing at the Anthony Spalding Sports Complex compared to the National Stadium, based on the fact that ISA Boys and Girls Champ starts tomorrow, will you change your style somewhat to adjust to the pitch at the Anthony Spalding Sports Complex?
No. I think the best two venues in Jamaica is Catherine Hall and National Stadium. Trelawny Multipurpose was one of the venues that replicates that. I think Arnott Garden also brings vibes like that also. It's a good facility. It will be the next in line to a Catherine Hall. The field size is good. It's going to create the same psychological effect that the other two venues would have. So, no, we're going to be approaching the game anyway. As I said, everything is tactical now.
Yes.
We have discussed that. We have all week, so we're We have prepared specifically to play against this team in this time. But everything will be down to the players. The stage is important, the psychological aspect, how mentally ready we are. It's a good test for us if we want to become champions. And I think we're ready for it.
Coach, yourselves, UWI, and Portmore have lost only 6 games. You're the teams that have lost the fewest games this season. You play against a UWI team with a few games left in the regular season. Is this game a statement game heading into the knockout phase of the competition?
I wouldn't say it's a statement game, and I would say it's a statement game because if we're harboring any thoughts of being the league winners, because there's always 2 winners, the league winners and the winner of the overall competition in terms of the other format, the semi-final, etc.
Right.
We have to beat them tonight. There's no two-way about that. It's not our home game. It's not their home game. The facility is foreign to both of us. There are 7 points. There are 7 points. I stand corrected. They open up a 7 points lead on us, and we have to cut into that.
Yes.
And then we have a game in hand. We also have a game in hand against Portmore. So it would create a good foundation for us to make a good run in the last 4 games remaining. So we have one intention, and it's to win the game. The only thing we can think about is getting a result. If we draw the game, then that will also help us, but that's not the best chance for us to become the league winners. Chasing them, they're in front of us. We need to win the game.
All right, Coach, we're out of time, so we have to leave it there this afternoon. All the best in your game tonight.
Always a pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Coach.
There you have it, the words of Donovan Dookie. And before we go, let's have a quick rundown of the table. UWI leads the standings on 57 points, followed by Tivoli Gardens on 52. Humberline third on 50, Soto Montego Bay United in 4th. Portmore United in 5th position on 46 points. All the top 5 have qualified for the playoffs so far. Arnett, they are 6th on 42 points. Reno are 7th on 34. Harborview 8th on 34. Boys Town 9th on 32. Waterhouse 10th on 31. And in the relegation zone, it's Jamalco in 11th position on 29 points. And Marvelly at the bottom on 28. Dwayne, before we go, who is winning the game tonight?
I think it's a draw.
And before we go, let's big up our sponsors, the Premier League Clubs Association, the PLCA, Red Stripe, grab a Red Stripe, start the game, and the Yard